Right.
Yes.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks to UNICEF for giving me such an opportunity to speak on a topic which is very close to my heart. It's very like it is one of my favorite topics. Child development of a child. Because you know, when a child is born, the doctors, nurses, paramedics, or other healthcare workers, whoever attends the delivery or whoever attends the child for first few minutes or first few days or first few hours or first few months, we are the person who can decide the entire life, entire fate of a child. Whether the child is going to be a special child or a child is going to be a healthy child, that depends upon our strength, our knowledge, and our efforts. So all of us who are working at the level of NICUs, working with newborns and infants, all of us should know what should be screened from a child. So today we'll discuss about screening of common delays and defects in a child. What is the need for early screening? As you know, mostly 70% of brain maturation happens within 3 years of life, and 90% of brain maturation happens within 6 years of life. So there are many cases, developmental delays and defects. Many cases, if we screen them early, if we identify them early and intervene early, then the results becomes like exciting. Whereas if we identify delay, the results are not very good. So the honest is like the message is always try to identify them early so that we can intervene them early. Because after 6 years, identifying and intervening may not give very good results. Whereas if you identify them very early, when the brain is maturing, the results will be very good. For example, if we want to modify the shape of a pot or pitcher, if it is in raw stage, whatever shape you want to give, you can give. But once the pitcher is completely formed, it becomes very difficult to modify them later. And what is the purpose of screening? Screening early and intervention helps in a better outcome. And who should be screened regularly? All the high-risk children. Children, particularly IUGR children, premature babies, and yes, ma'am. Hello. Hello. I'm sorry, I thought there is some interruption. Can somebody explain? Can somebody respond? Is there any problem? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah. There's some disturbance. Okay. So, particularly the children who are premature, children who are IUGR, children who had like birth asphyxia or like severe, very high severe jaundice with like kernicterus. Like bilirubin reaches more than 25, and these are certain high risk babies. Mother having like maternal problems like preeclampsia or eclampsia. Mother had seizures, and mother was anemic. So just I don't want to waste much time on discussing all these things, because the children who are born with some eventful outcomes in the NICU, whether because of problems with the mother or because of the problems with the baby, whatever may be the reason. If the children are born with some severe illnesses and they stay for prolonged period in the NICU, they are mostly considered high-risk children. So all the high-risk children, they have to be screened regularly, both for physical problems as well as for mental problems, whether developmental delay is happening or not. And high degree of suspicion should be there. Why? What is the purpose of screening? In screening, the purpose is you should cover a lot of children, many children, so that many children are like included in the group, and many like children who are normal also, they may also be included in the group. but we should not miss any children with a defect or deformity. So the purpose of screening is cover a lot, as many children as possible, so that many children can be identified. And physical defects, they can be observed directly, while the developmental delays, like development in the form of gross motor or fine motor or social, all those things, developmental delays, they should be observed through by direct observation through certain questionnaires, and they should be matched with validated charts. Now going to the anatomy of the brain. Here you can see a cross section of the brain. The first one is that of a newborn. The second one is at 1 month back, 1 month advice. Then the third one is 6 months, and fourth one is 2-year-old child. You can see the newborn period, how the cross section of brain is visible, and at 2 years, how is the cross section of brain. So how clumsy it becomes. As the age grows, the number of synapses or the number of connections between the neurons becomes millions, billions, and trillions. So that in a 2 or 3-year-old child, the number of synapses are 1,000 trillion synapses approximately. Whereas a child, in an adult, the number of synapses are almost 500 trillion synapses. That means almost 500 trillion synapses has to be wasted, they have to be damaged, and 500 trillion healthy synapses will remain, so that the brain becomes lighter and stronger and healthier. So the synapses which are preserved, the brain thinks that these are the synapses, they are strong, they are good, and they are useful. So brain preserves these synapses. So those synapses which are preserved, that process is called blooming. And the rest of the synapses, that means almost 500 trillion synapses, which are destroyed, which are wasted by our brain, thinking that they are useless. They are that those processes, and that process is called pruning. Let me give you a small example. Suppose today a child is born. You just blindfold him and keep him in a dark room and take him out after 18 years of life. That means after 18 years, till 18 years, though child is alive, but he has never seen light. That means what our brain will think? Our brain will think that the brain will think that I need not see. So the areas or the synapses that are reserved from the vision, they will be destroyed or they will be pruned. So there is very likely that if you take out the child after 18 years, the child will be blind. So this is the process of pruning, and this is blooming. So that's why if you give proper stimulations and right stimulations, right corrections at an earlier age, then the children will be benefited a lot. Now coming to developmental screening charts, discussing the real normal development of a child, at what age, what are all the developments should happen. That is again a very weak topic, and discussing all the charts, like all the four parameters like gross motor, fine motor, linguistic, and social. These are the 4 parameters in which we screen a child for development. There are many screening charts like Denver chart and agency stages questionnaire chart. I don't want to discuss all this like the charts, because that's a very lengthy topic, and that itself will take it up, like it take one day. So just I want to show like very common chart, Indian chart that is used in India, Trivandrum developmental screening chart. Here you can see it's a very simple chart. Here in the bottom of the y-axis, on the x-axis, the age is there, and in the y-axis, the development screens are there. Suppose take like just take like one parameter, like rolls from back to stomach. So it starts from around 2.5 to 3 months, and it ends at 10 months. So this entire period, the black period, it is there. During that period, a child will grow, and the child you cannot expect the child to show rollover beyond 3 months. And after 10 months, if the child is still not rolling over, then there is danger. It's a danger sign. So this is how we can see what are all the, like how the child will grow. So there are many charts. These are for Trivandrum in India Trivandrum screening chart. It is a very simple chart. Anybody can use it. So it's like social smile, eye to follow, hold and steady. These are all the parameters, and you will see when it starts and when it ends. This is very easy to administer. Suppose you take another parameter, walk with help. So it starts here. It's around 7.5 months. The child starts to walk with help at 7.5 months, and it ends by 13 months. So you cannot expect the child to walk with help before 7.5 months. And if the child is still not attained to walk till after 13 years of age, 13 months of age, then the child is delayed. So this is how you can assess the development of a child. Now, what are the development red flag signs? Now, suppose there is no visual fixation. A child is not fixing the vision, like child is not looking into the eyes or looking into the face of a mother by 2 months of age. Then it's like child is not able to fix his vision to the mother's face or any other object, like bright object something. So by 2 months, if the child is not able to show visual fixation, then that is alarming. There is no vocalization. Vocalization means the child starts from produce some vague sounds like ah, oh, cooing sounds. It should like be still 6 months. There is no vocalization. Then it's again it's an alarming sign. There is no sitting without support. Child should be able to sit without support by 9 to 10 months. If the child is not attained, then again it's a red flag sign. And child is not able to stand alone without any support by 16 months. Child is not able to walk alone by 18 months, and there is no single word by 18 months, and there is no imaginative play, like pretend play. The child playing like feeding a toy, doing something like pretending to be something else. So these are the certain red flag signs. If the child is not attaining this particular red flag sign, particular milestones by this particular age, then we call these are red flag signs. The child should be able to attain the milestone of imaginative play by 3 years of age. Now coming to physical defects. What are the common physical defects? First is hair defects, cleft lip and cleft palate, Down syndrome, spina bifida, and limb defects like clubfoot and congenital dysplasia. Now coming to heart defects. Heart defects, in a normal, you cannot screen a heart defect just by looking at the child or looking physically. Many times it may happen that some children may have some other associated midline defects along with heart defects. Then you can suspect. Many times if there is a cleft lip or cleft palate, that child also may be associated with heart defects. So you have to screen for heart defect in a child with cleft lip, cleft palate. Suppose a child with Down syndrome, that child also may have associated heart defects. So heart defects should be examined by a clinical examiner. If you sound some murmur, or if the child is not growing properly, that the growth and development is delayed, the child is not gaining weight despite all the efforts, then we should suspect heart defect and we should screen, and then we should do echo screening. And heart defect screening, like screening of the heart, they are like heart problems, they are happening all over India, in fact all over the world, through different screening camps. Many cardiologists or pediatricians, they move to like different peripheral places and they screen those heart defects. Now cleft lip and cleft palate, very easy to diagnose. They are very visible, easily visible. If the child is born, you can see these pictures. Like the first picture shows unilateral cleft, that is present in the left side only. The second picture shows bilateral cleft. Why there is cleft? Because the lip is formed when the two separate chambers come and joined in the midline. So one membrane comes from left side, another from right side, and they join in the midline. So while the process of joining is impaired, then a cleft is formed. So cleft lip and cleft palate can form. It could be unilateral or bilateral, or both cleft lip and cleft palate both can be present. These are the photos you can see. This is first picture shows cleft palate and there is no cleft lip. And in the second picture, you can see both cleft lip and cleft palate are present. Now, this one is called CTB or congenital talipes equinovarus, and otherwise known as clubfoot. Am I audible? Am I audible? Hello? Am I audible? Hello? Uh, okay, okay, okay. Fine, fine. Please let me know when I'm audible. I think there is some technical issues, so ma'am is trying to fix it. Just let me know when I'm audible. Hello? No, ma'am, the screen we are not audible. Am I audible? Am I audible or not? Just a minute, just a minute. Can you see my picture? Am I visible? Can't hear me. Like I'm on mute. I'm not muted yet. Hello? Am I audible? Am I audible, ma'am? Hello? But I'm on mute here. My video is visible or not, ma'am? I'm audible? Yeah. I'm audible now, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir. Sorry,
Okay.
there was
I
some
think there was
technical
some
glitch
technical issues.
that
Yeah.
we could not continue. So, sir would again start wherever he has stopped. Sorry, sir, for this technical glitch. I would request you to carry on.
Okay. Sorry. I'm really sorry for these technical issues. Okay. I think I'm not now. I'm audible. Okay. So I think I was in this place. Sorry. So this is a picture of clubfoot or congenital talipes equinovarus or CTEV. So most of the times these are very when there is oligohydramnios or there is very less water in the mother's womb, then because of this is constraint in the space, this kind of things may happen many times. So these children, just by gentle massaging by mother also many times these things can get corrected. Or if not corrected, then serial casting and that later on in surgical procedures they can also like help. And again, as I told, early intervention, early identification, early referral, and early intervention, those children they can correct it. Otherwise, you can see this one here is already an adult, and still this one is persisting. This kind of CTB and and limping while walking, these things are already still persisting till adulthood. If you do not imagine the situation of this man, if somebody would have identified earlier and corrected this little earlier, then this man would have become like a normal person. But now he's kind of special child, special person. Now another is developmental dysplasia of hip, a defect, a kind of like hip, defect in hip. Here you can see this one are the hip socket. This one is the socket of like hip joint. This is a ball and socket joint. This one is the femur bone, and in the hip joint, this is a socket, and this one is the ball. That's why it is called a ball and socket joint. And this was having a cartilage. There is a covering of the cartilage, and there is a fluid in this covering. This is called synovial fluid. And this free ball and socket joint allows free movement of the limb in all directions. Now here in developmental dysplasia of hip, this one you can see there is the hip joint. You can see this ball, the socket part is not formed properly. This is flat, so this ball part is moving out. So this ball and socket joint is damaged. Because of this, the parents, many times the parents can notice that the baby's hip make a popping or clicking sound that is heard or felt while changing the diaper. Whenever the parents are changing the diaper or handling the baby, many times they feel that that hip of one particular side is displacing, that is displaced immediately. There's a popping sound. And many times they observe that the baby's legs are of not same length. One is longer, another is little bit shorter, because the limb which is dysplasia that moves little upwards, and that limb appears short, and there will be excess folds in that thigh of that particular leg. And one hip or leg doesn't move in the same as the other side. There will be little abduction in the other, abduction in that limb. That means that will be directing little outwards, towards side, laterally. That will be directed laterally. And the skin folds are little like they do not line up. They will be abnormal, and the child will start limping whenever they walk. And mostly, the cases are fast-born female children with breech presentation, and many times there will be family history. There is a video. Let me share the video. Just a minute. And can you share the slide, madam? Just a minute. I'm trying to share the video. No, it's not the video. I think it is. No, sorry. Not this video. Can just a minute.
Yes, sir. We can see the video. Sorry, PPT, sir.
PPT, so this was all about developmental dysplasia of hip. So if we identify a child the developmental dysplasia of hip little early, we can say the child's entire future, entire life. Because if you identify them early, before 6 months, the treatment is very, very simple. Just for 2 to 3 months, put one public like some harness. That they put some some harness, and that harness, if it is put, then the socket remains in that position, and that ball socket joint develops properly, so that later on the child becomes completely normal. But if you do not do it at right time, then it is very likely that entire ball and socket joint will be destroyed, damaged, and the child limps for her entire life, and that leads to deformity in the spine also, that will lead to entire like her body structure to get deformed, and ultimately the child becomes special child. The child would have been a very healthy and normal child, but later on because of our negligence, some kind like the child becomes special child. Now, another is spina bifida. Spina bifida, sometimes spina bifida occulta. Spina bifida means you can clearly visible the defect, and spina bifida occulta means that is not occult. That means it is not clearly visible. And what is spina bifida? It is a what defect that occurs when the spine and the spinal cord don't form properly. That means it is a neural tube defect. That means there is a neural tube. Neural tube is a structure which actually forms the brain and spinal cord. Now, because of folic acid deficiency, many times because of folic acid deficiency, and sometimes other regions also, some chromosomal anomalies also, that can also lead to sometimes this kind of spina bifida. So, because of all these deficiencies, the neural tube is not formed properly. Because of this, here you can see this one is the spinal cord. This one is the spinal cord. This one is the spine. This is spinal cord, and there is a bulging. And this here the spinal fluid is there, and the spinal cord instead of coming directly, it rotates in the inside that inside that myelocele. That is called meningomyelocele. This one you can see there is a big defect in like in the back, and that may lead to paraplegia. Sometimes it leads to limb defects. The defect in the both limbs can lead to paraplegia. There will be defect like in the walking, and sometimes there is bladder bowel incontinence also. The child will not have bladder control. The child will not have bowel control also. Another is Down syndrome. Down syndrome is very common nowadays. All the mothers who come to normal routine checkup during pregnancy, they are screened for Down syndrome. Trisomy 21, it is called trisomy 21. They can be present in 1 in 800 to 1 in 1000 newborns. It is because of trisomy 21. That means there is another chromosome. Like normally, as you saw, they are diploids. Like all the chromosomes, they are present in pairs. But the 21 number, the chromosome will be 3 in number. And that extra chromosome may come from either mother or the father. And the most common features being advanced maternal age. So if the mother's age is between 15 to 29 years, chances will be 1:1550. But if the mother's becomes more than 45 years, the chances are very high, like 1 in 50. And if the mother is between 40 to 45 years, chances are 1 in 100. 1 in 100. So as the mother age grows, the chances of giving birth to Down syndrome baby increases. The very high chance that the child will be having Down syndrome. And other trisomies can be present like Patau syndrome and Edwards syndrome. Patau syndrome is because of trisomy 13, whereas Edwards syndrome is because of trisomy 18. Now, what are the clinical features of Down syndrome? They are very easy to identify. Mostly the children will be appearing like Chinese children or Mongoloid children. And other features, what are the other features? There will be physical or mental retardation. The children's IQ will be little on the lower side, and there will be physical like not exactly deformity. There will be short-sightedness. And there will be hypotonia. Happy, like, and children are there. All children are happy. The Down syndrome children, most of them are happy, and they love music. They are music lovers. And what are the facial features? There will be flat occiput, oblique palpebral features, narrow. There will be narrow and oblique palpebral features. Wide epicondral folds, small nose with flat nasal bridge, small forehead protruding tongue, and ears are very small and dysplastic. You can see the pictures. How? See, these are narrow and oblique palpebral features, epicondral folds, and how the child is looking like Mongoloid children. These children I can see, they are Mongoloid children. They are all Down syndrome babies, Mongoloid children. Their appearance will look like Chinese face. And there is another thing is like this one, the simian crease. Simian crease means a monkey in Australia, that simian monkeys, they have a crease. Normally human beings, they have 3 creases. In hand there are 3 creases, but Down syndrome baby, they have only 2 creases, like 2 big lines. That's called simian crease. So mostly, so these are all about physical defects. So physical defects one can easily identify, but what are the mental defects? Now coming to mental defects, you can see developmental delays. What are the developmental delays? Like development in the IQ, like development in the normal, like in the normal parameters, like gross motor, fine motor, social, linguistic development, all these things, they also has to be observed. Now, what are the major causes of developmental delays? There are many are late starters. Many children, they are late in everything. The many parents come that, sir, हमारे family में तो सब कुछ तो late ही बोल रहे हैं. Entire our entire family is fixed late. So all हमारे family हर कोई late ही चला है. So many times it happens. There are late starters. Everything is normal in the children. Only that they start little late. Another is mental retardation with global developmental delay. Global developmental delay means all the parameters, gross motor, fine motor, linguistic, social, everything will be delayed in the children. Another is deprivation. That means a child is deprived of any particular stimulation. As I told, normally children should be given proper stimulation before 3 to 6 years of age, before 6 years of age, so that their brain will develop properly. But these children, they are not exposed to proper speech. They are not exposed to language. They are not exposed. Suppose a child is not exposed to any language, and or they are exposed to multiple languages. Then also the children are they speak little late. Sometimes motor defects like muscular dystrophy, cerebral palsy. There may be hearing and vision defects. There may be speech and language disorders, autism, specific learning disorders, attention deficit hyperactivity disorders. These are all developmental delays. Now, how to do the screening of developmental delay? There can be different types of screens, like screens that can be done by providers, another by parents. Screens by provider, like the healthcare workers who are trained to screen a child, they will use certain standardized questionnaires, standardized parameters to screen the child of some development, like Denver scale, CAT scale, Belly scale, Brigade, Dialer, whereas parents they themselves can do something like adjacent sales questionnaire and parents evaluation development status PETS. These are the certain scale, like screens. And in Indian scenario, certain screening tests are Baroda development screening test, Trivandrum development screening test, which I saw little earlier, and Lucknow developmental screening test. So these are all in Indian scenario we call DASI. DASI is not a screening test. Baroda development screening test is a screening test, whereas DASI is a diagnostic test where we calculate the age of the child, developmental age of the child. Now, coming to Denver developmental screening test. This is a very common test used only used for screening test. It is not diagnostic. Suppose one child is showing fail or delay in development, it's not that he is actually developmental delay. Here we are only screening. For diagnostic purpose, again we have to screen the child with Belly or DASI. And it covers the children up to 6 years of age. But again, the problem is it has poor sensitivity and specificity. Normally, it takes around 10 to 20 minutes to administer. And they are available in multiple languages. Nowadays, it is available in the free of cost. So, let me show you. Let me show you. Sorry. Yeah. So, developmental. Sorry. I'm sorry, it is actually rendered. And can you share that this one? Just I'm stopping share. And
Okay,
again,
sir.
I'm just a minute. This is DDSD, madam. DDSD chat. I want to share. Just a minute. I'm sharing DDSD. Just. Oh. DDSD. Yeah. Yeah. This one is the developmental Denver scale one. This is Denver 2 developmental screening. Here it is showing 4 parameters. First one is gross motor, then is linguistic, then fine motor, then personal social. So these are all 4 parameters. Here it is showing one green normal zone, another is gray zone. So if the child is falling in this particular gray area, then like it shows this one is 25th percentile, this is 50th percentile, and this gray area is between 75th and 90th percentile. So it shows whether the child is in gray area or the normal area. And before, if the child is crossed to that particular column and still not passed, then it is the fail. And if the child is coming into gray area in 2 parameters, then again the child is fail. This is called Denver scale. Another scale that we want to show is this one is ADHD screen, ADHD chart. This is visible, no? Is it visible? Vanderbilt scheme. Can somebody respond? Is it visible? Hello.
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
This one is for ADHD. This Vanderbilt screening chart. This one is for diagnosis of ADHD. I want to show all the screen at a time because it is getting a lot of disturbances repeatedly. And this one is M chart. This M chart is for screening and screening of the autistic children. And another is there. This one is DALI chart. This one for diagnostic. This one is for screening. Yeah, this one is the DALI chart. This one is for learning disability or dyslexia. This one is for diagnosing dyslexia, learning disability. Okay, so coming to the point. Sorry. I'm sorry. Okay.
Yes, sir. We can see the presentation.
So this is called Denver developmental skill screening chart. Normally, it covers all the 4 parameters. It is available easily. Through PDF format, you can download in the net. It is freely available. So 4 parameters can be checked, and accordingly you will see if the child is pass or fail. Detailed to chart as I showed. Another is autism. Autism is mostly because of the core symptoms of autism. They are mainly impaired socialization, impaired communication, and stereotypic behavior. So I wanted to discuss in detail. Many children must be seeing like they are very hyperactive. They are not speaking till 3 to 4 years of age. They won't be able to listen to your name, listen to your to queries or somebody. Even if you call their name, they will not respond. They will not respond when you call their name. But when some sounds comes, like some advertisement sounds or some rhyme sounds comes from the TV, immediately they will rush. That means those specific sounds they can listen, but when you call their name, they will not respond. And there will be impaired socialization. They won't be able to mix with other children. They won't be able to play with other children. Mostly they will be isolated socially. They are always hyperactive. They are always isolated, and many times they are associated with other sensory issues. They won't be able to touch. You won't be able to touch their head. Some tactile sensory input issues will be there. So there are many other things will be there. So discussion of autism, it is a very again huge topic that we can discuss in detail here. I'm just highlighting on the simple only the important points only. There are mainly 3 core symptoms, and all core symptoms will be having different other associated symptoms, like impaired socialization, where the children will not be able to mix with other children. They won't respond to their name. They won't be able to play with other children. They won't be able to do their daily course. Even if you ask them to do something, they will not be able to they will not be able to follow your order. Now again, impaired communication. communication, there will be speech delay. They will not, they won't understand what you say. Even nowadays, what happens to many children, they will be singing complex rhymes. They will be telling different words also they can say. Like the child will explore, exploitation, difficult rhymes also they can say. But those children will not be able to address mama as mama. If a child is not able to call her mama as mama, the child is not calling his papa as papa, but he is able to sing the complex rhymes. But parents are happy that my child is speaking. But problem is the child learning rhymes is not priority. Addressing mama as mama, calling mama when required, demanding something when he needs something, that is more important. So the child is not showing proper communication, not showing socialization, and some stereotype behavior. Many children will be showing some finger movement, flapping movement, reading finger movement. Some children will be just rotating the wheel of a car for the whole day. There will be obsession with fan. These are some stereotype behaviors. So these are the features which you should screen early, and you should match them with the M chart that I showed little earlier. M chart should be screened in those children. The tool, what are the tools? M chart and star charts. All the children who are more than 18 years should be screened with or have screened for autism. Another is ADHD. Here this is attention deficit, as the name suggests, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. That means the child will not have proper attention and the child will be hyperactive. That is called ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. There are again three types. One is inattention type, another is hyperactivity impulsivity type, third one is mixed type. All these things we will not discuss in detail, and mostly these symptoms should persist for more than 6 months. And let me give you certain points where we should suspect. Many children, whenever they go to school, they will not sit in their chair. They will always roaming in the whole class. And they're just pushing some child and they'll be sitting in their seat. Always pulling their somebody's like dresses, pulling somebody's hair. And whenever the teacher is teaching something, they will always be inattentive. And when the teacher is asking some questions, even before the teacher stops the question, completes the question, immediately they will blot out the answer. And they don't know what the question is, but they will blot out some answers without understanding what is there. And they cannot fix themselves in some project. Suppose you say, you do all this, complete these 5 sums or 5 multiplications. After 1 or 2, they will run somewhere. You cannot make them do some multitasking. Like, okay, go there and bring that potato and keep that in that cupboard. They'll go there, then they'll forget what I have to bring and where I have to keep. So 2 or 3 step tasks they will forget. And in school, always they will forget. In today, they forget the book. Next day, they will forget the pen. Another day, they will forget a pencil. Next day, they will forget tiffin box. Somewhere, they will forget something. These are all the problems with ADHD children. Again, how to assess Vanderbilt scale, child assessment profile, behavior assessment profile for children, child behavior checklist, and Conners rating scale. These are all the skills from where you can check the behavior. But mostly, like Vanderbilt scale, it is easily available, freely available in the net. These are from there you can easily assess the child. Another thing is learning disability. These things happens. Usually, they will this learning disability children, they will not be diagnosed till they are 4 or 5 years of age. Once they start learning, they start studying, then only you are able to understand if there is some problem with the child's learning. There are 3 types of learning disability. One is dyslexia, another is dysgraphia, third is dyscalculia. Dyslexia is here the child will not be able to read. Dysgraphia is child will not be able to write, and dyscalculia means child will not be able to calculate. That means they will like they do wrong in simple calculations also. Like 1 plus 3, how much? A child is 6 or 7 years old. How much 2 plus 3? They'll forget. Like they won't be able to do it. Children with dyslexia, dysgraphia, they'll forget the words. They'll do a lot of spelling mistakes. They'll forget some alphabets. All kind of learning, reading, writing problems. The IQ level is normal. Many times it happens that with children with learning disability, earlier phase their IQ level is very high. So that the parents will have a lot of expectation from the child. But once they start studying, they start reading, learning, then they will have a problem. So these are all learning disabilities. So different tools, Lehman chart, Dali, Woodcock Johnson, DEST, these are all certain charts where you can diagnose like dyslexia. Another is hearing and vision. Hearing and vision should be diagnosed very early. Otherwise, that child will again there will be problem with the vision and hearing. In newborns, a red reflex test is done. So you take I have a video to show. If time permits, I'll show you the video. It's a simple classroom test are there to rule out this vision. Hearing the children, all the newborn children, before being discharged, all of them should be diagnosed, like tested with her red reflex. There's a reflex called a red reflex that is checked with ophthalmoscope. Sometimes even with a torch also you can take test, but it's not very difficult. But with an ophthalmoscope, you can check it properly. A red reflex will be coming from the eye. That sometimes rules out any cataract or other other defects in the eye. And there should be all the children with school going children should be diagnosed for refractive errors. And for hearing assessment, OE and BERA are done for hearing assessment. Nowadays, routine hearing assessment has become a norm. Government of India is promoting routine hearing assessment at different forums. So about now we are coming to an end. There will be summary of the slides. I think the summary part we will discuss in the different languages.